Hey everyone, welcome to my channel RyRy McGUY. You can call me Ryan, and today is October 5th, Wednesday, October 5th, where I'm recording Flosstube number 10. That's right, if you can believe it. I made it this far, and you made it this far if you're returning. Thanks for coming back, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here, where we talk about cross-stitching, maybe sewing, maybe some knitting, just needle arts in general. There might be a cat wandering through, and yeah, so thanks for popping by. And because this is episode number 10, we might have a surprise or two, one of which may be a theme song. So fingers crossed, we might hear something. Did you hear it? I'm gonna add it out. I'm gonna try to add it after, so I don't know if it's actually working right now. We'll see. Anyway, what are we gonna talk about today? Oh, well, episode number 10. Yeah, I can't believe I made it this far. If you remember, my very first appearance on the YouTubes was on the channel of my friend Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, as she had me on as a guest, and poor woman, she had to put up with me sort of oscillating back and forth, and what am I doing? Am I going to do a floss tube? Do I want to do a floss tube? I don't think that I might have enough to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know if I have everything in place already. And yeah, it's been a real journey. I think what kind of pushed me, and thanks for asking, I'm going to tell you anyway. I think what kind of pushed me to record is just trying to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit and, get more comfortable in front of the camera, share some of the stuff that I have in a way that this is sort of acting as kind of like a video diary. Yeah, I realized that I do have the interest. One morning when a certain cat woke me up at about 5 a.m. to be fed, and I, got up, stumbled around, fed him, and before I went back to bed, I grabbed a cross-stitch chart and sat down on the toilet, as we all do. This is too much information, right? Yeah. Anyway, I was reading charts like books, and not even stitching them, just enjoying looking at them. And I think it was at that point that I realized, yeah, I think that I might be interested in cross stitch enough to have some content here to share with you. So it was a long-winded way of saying, this is why I'm here, and I hope this is why you're here. And let's get on with this, with the pile. We've got a few things going on. I've got my list here in front of me. Yeah, so September's kind of left us. We're now in October, and I know that many of you enjoy Halloween and all the projects that Halloween brings, and the stitch-alongs and the pattern releases, and all the fun stitchy witchy stuff. And I am about to say something controversial but brave. I'm not that into Halloween. No, I'm not. Nothing happened particularly that turned me off Halloween. I didn't have a trauma associated with it. In fact, I remember, I grew up in the country in Manitoba, and whatever you dressed up as for Halloween, you ended up being a ghost in rubber boots and a parka, or a princess in rubber boots and a parka. And the weather was so unpredictable. It was always a bit sloshy, always muddy and messy, and our parents would drive us from house to house, and I think we would end up going to maybe 12, maybe just about a dozen houses, and because they had so few kids at the time, they would sort of fill these, if you remember when everyone would recycle or repurpose the plastic bags that loaves of bread came in. And so we would get these big bags just filled with all kinds of goodies, and it might be little toys, always an apple, some caramels, chocolate bars, sometimes even full-size stuff. So we had a big pillowcase, so we didn't have to go very far. Anyway, that was our Halloween, and I have fond memories of it, but yeah, I'm not interested in stitching anything Halloween in the least. Modern folk embroidery has a sort of a series focusing on black stitching with slightly macabre theme, and there are a few that I like as part of that collection. I've got actually a beautiful sort of anatomical skull that I bought from someone on Etsy, a cross-stitch pattern that I'd like to stitch one day. So that might be vaguely Halloween-y, but no. No pumpkins, no bats, no witches, no goblins, no Frankenstein, nothing of that nature. So you're not going to see that from me. And in fact, what I will do, we'll kick this off with a giveaway. I was digging through my stash looking for a project, for a specific project, and I came across this little kit that I have. Where are we? Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus. This I actually bought from a Facebook group that I belong to. It's like a buy and sell exchange in Canada, and I'm pretty sure that's where I acquired it. And it's a needle book, and it's a scissors fob, and it includes absolutely everything that you would want to stitch. It even has the little fleece. It has the backing boards. It's got a needle, and it even has a penny to help weight the fob. So really, I mean, it's got everything in this kit. Backing fabric, everything. So yeah, I'm going to be saying goodbye to this by passing it on to one of you kind viewers. You know the rules. You need to be 18 or over. You would hopefully like this video. Please be a subscriber. Don't mention the word giveaway or prize. And I think we usually search for a word. So I don't want to say let's look for Halloween, but yeah, I'll look for the word Halloween. It's October. Why not? So tell me a favorite Halloween story. Tell me your favorite Halloween costume. That would be fun to hear about. And you may be the lucky recipient of my Hocus Pocus. Sorry, I don't know who the maker is. I don't know. I don't want to dig through here. It's all packed nicely. My Hocus Pocus needlebook and scissors fob kit. So happy Halloween. That's the first thing out of the way. Next, I don't have too many works in progress to show you. Let me go through my little list here. Projects. Oh, yes. We've got a couple finishes. So if you've joined me for the ride so far, you know that I've been stitching Lady Man by Bendy's Stitchy Designs, Michelle Bendy, and I've been working on 1844 Lady Man, and guess what, guys? We have a finish. Ta-da! I thought that I was pretty close to being finished last time that I did this. I think all I had remaining was this butterfly and the grass here. And I'm like, oh, that's all. I'll finish it in no time. And the grass, even though she graciously charted this as being a tent stitch, which results in this really cool sort of oscillating wave effect. I don't know if you can see that there. the colors are ringing pretty true, actually. And yeah, that took longer than expected. So if they were full crosses, yeah, I would not be too happy with it, and I'm probably still would be working on it. And the butterfly, I don't know if you can tell, they're supposed to be the same colors essentially, but I did some of my own conversion, and I ended up using a darker red for this one compared to this lighter sort of orangey red. And I thought about going back and changing this, but you know what? I like it the way it is, so I'm going to keep it. And I popped the little beads on, the Mill Hill beads, just to finish it off. And I think for this, I will be making a project bag. I actually have some fabric on order that should go nicely with this. And yeah, so hopefully I can get working on that next week if it arrives in time. So that's Lady Man. I think I'm going a mile a minute away again, guys, so let's just take a beat. And, oh, yeah. So if you do watch Michelle Bendy, you know she has a scrapbook or a junk journal, and where she keeps some notes, and she has little smalls that she's stitched. And I ended up getting a book from the same woman. I apologize, I can't remember. I mentioned her name before. She'll occasionally make these junk journals, and they're just sort of repurposed old books. It keeps the spine in the cover. She's kept some of the pages, and I'm kind of determined I'm not a junk journal person, and but I liked the idea of sort of having a memento or a record of the stitches, and I've started a new thing. You'll see it where I use these sort of library checkout cards and the pockets that you'd usually find at the back of an old school library book. And yeah, it was far before the barcode and scanner days. And so I thought that this would actually be a nice repository for those library cards when I finish a project. So this is my little junk journal. I tried the Book of Days thing to log my stitching, and it just didn't work for me. I mean, yeah, it just didn't work. So I thought it might be a nice idea to try using this. So the pages are dyed or stained with coffee or tea to give it that antique-y look. And so what I did, this is my first page in my journal. So there we go. We've got the designer or the label, Bendy Stitchy, and I included just a copy of the pattern, or yeah, a copy of the model right there, because obviously my cross-stitch piece was too big to fit in this journal. And here's that library card I was telling you about. So inside, I've recorded my start date, my end date, the fabric, the floss I used, just fun little details like that. And I also included this little vellum envelope. Let's see how I can do this without spilling everything. This little vellum envelope with the floss that I used. And yeah, I thought, so when I look at this, I have a nice memory of the project that I stitched, even though I don't have the actual stitched project here. And yeah, so let's see how long I can keep that up. I've got a couple of other finishes that I have with library cards, so I'll be building this up as I go. And the book is thick enough that it can support, a bunch of inserts in that. So yeah, so thanks for the idea, Michelle. And yeah, finally, Michelle Bendy design is the first one in there too. So on to finish number 2. Is that right? Finish number 2. I was working on a project called a red cottage, and oh, where's my library card? I don't have it with me. I'll share a picture of where I was last time I showed it to you, and this is where I am today. Finished. That's right. It's all done. This was a really cute little stitch, and take a look at that tiny house on the flower branch with the tiny flower next to it. That's done 1/1. This was on 32 count linen, and yeah, that was a little bit of a struggle. I managed, though. One thing I have to say, and what I like about working on all these different projects is, kind of learning different things. And I've learned that you see that negative space design on the house, sort of like that snowflake motif. This is not easy for me. I think others might have struggled with that too, and I'm not sure why, but designing with a motif that's actually the negative space, that's actually the exposed linen, and then having the stitch form kind of the background for the design, that was difficult for me. And I know that this technique has a special name. Throw it up. And yeah, I'm curious to see how I can work to make that experience a little bit better. And yeah, that's Red Cottage. I also put my little initials, sort of 1/1. My initials and the year 2022. It's pretty small, but you know what? That's okay. I like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might frame it, actually. It's a really nice size. Or I thought, because it's almost square, it might suit the bottom of a tray very well. So I thought I could do that as well. So that remains to be seen what the final finish will be for that project. Red Cottage. My other finish that I have to share with you today is Jeannette Douglas, Mini-Bouquet, her Stitch Along, releasing a bouquet every month for the year 2022. And I started and finished September in September, so that's awesome. Let's have a look at it. It's really sweet. Well, I mean, they're all sweet. I mean, how many times can I say sweet, right? You see that yellow there? That yellow, I tried about 3 or 4 different yellows, and I do a lot of my stitching downstairs in the evening. That's when I have my free time, and of course, it's a little bit darker there. The yellows just weren't reading properly, so I went with a really, really vivid. I've got it here. 307. It's a DMC 307. The rest is a hand dyed Vicky Clayton silks, and the fabric that I used. It's 28. So that's the thread count. I stitched it one pulled strand over one, and so it's a little on the smaller side, and it says written number 28. This was part of a little grab bag or stash builder or whatever you call it from a number 12 Stitch Co. And unfortunately, I don't know the name of the color, but it's a great way to try something new if you're not familiar with they do beautiful hand-dyed linens, and so it's a really great way to try some of their products. So yeah, I'm happy to stitch it. I really like the scale of this. I think I may end up stitching this on for maybe October as well. We'll see. But one thing I wanted to share with you, so that's September. August was a tomato plant. I showed that to you in my last video. I'll throw a picture up here if you want to see it again. And then prior to that, we had May, June, and July. And I believe, yeah, I showed you the finishes for them, but I didn't know how I was going to finish it. So it's a little bit of a challenge for me. And then I figured out what to do. And yeah, I think I was pretty happy with my idea. I had a bit of a struggle. I encouraged you, viewers of Flosstube number 9, if you watched it, to comment or to guess what it is that I might what I might be finishing those 3 months into. And a lot of you had some amazing guesses, and funnily, none of you guessed what I actually did with it. So let's have a look. If you remember, I think this was the month of April, May, June. Yeah, I think this was April, and I finished it into a little jar, and it turned the top into a pincushion. So I put my counting pins in here, and that's what I did for April. So this actually contains May, June, and July right inside. So what the heck is that? My finish happens to be da 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 da. Look, pattern weights. Yeah. So I made 3 pattern weights, and each month is a different pattern weight. I backed each of the designs with muslin that I used from my fashion design days many years ago. I actually still have, we bought a huge bolt of this beautiful sort of unbleached cotton muslin that we use for sort of drafting up a garment to test the fit, and I thought that, of course, if I'm creating pattern weights, I thought it would be meaningful to have the muslin to back these little cross-stitch designs. And I added a little ribbon loop to them, just to make it easier to take out of the jar. So yeah, I thought that was kind of made sense. And they're filled with crushed walnut shells, as well as some coins to give it a nice substantial weight. If you're not a sewist or a sewer, or you're not familiar with the term pattern weights, I actually didn't know what a pattern weight was until I started watching the Great British Sewing Bee, and a lot of the folks there were using it. So I've tried them since with different things, like I would use a mug, or I would actually use the glass jar for cutting out simple things, and I really like the idea. So I thought, well, Ryan, let's give it a try. So this was, I'm sorry, I can't remember which months they were, but this was one. Sorry, I'm just shaking around all like crazy here. This is another. The finish is not the best. I'm kind of using a loaner machine from work, and it seems to have only one speed, which is fast, other than stop. So trying to sew sort of the small, tight circumference of a circle posed a bit of a challenge. So either a little rough and ready, we'll call it rustic. That's okay. They're pattern weights. Number 3. That's number 3. You can see how rustic they are, right? A little hand stitching at the bottom. But I'm really happy with how they turned out, and the fact that they just fit so perfectly in here. I mean, couldn't ask for anything more, really. So, and the fact that there's a pincushion on top, well set. So there we have May, June, July, August. April, May, June, July, and I did promise that I would select. I did a random comment generator, used the word guess, and the recipient will it's sort of a pass the stash kind of thing. I have, those are mini bouquets. I have mini topiaries. I've got 5 of these, and this one I had completed already. So I'm passing this along with all of the floss that you need, and there's some Kryneck even, 2 specialty Threadworks overdyed flosses, a few DMCs. I'll give you a hunk of the called for fabric, and the lucky recipient is Tam Savage. Tam Savage, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So what I will do is, I've already commented on your comment from my last video. So please reply or send me an email and we'll make arrangements to get that to you. So thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you for the great guesses. And pattern weights. That's what we did. Okay. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, so we're moving on. So those are the finishes and the fully finished. We talked last time about my desire to do stitching in hand, just because I wanted a way to sort of step away from the frame and have something a little more mobile or portable to do. So here's the library cards I was talking about. So I've been trying a couple of projects, stitching in hand. I showed off one to you last video. This one I'm trying, it's Scattered Seed Samplers, and it's called Midwinter's Day. And it's a tailor's roll. And I thought that this would be good for stitching in hand because it seemed to me the easiest, or the way that I would meet the most success is to find something that's quite straight with a lot of fill-in. And I'm using, what am I using? Where did it go? Oh, right here. I'm using the called for DMC. I'm using linen that is 32 count antique copper. It's a white chelt, and you can see I got really far, guys. That's as far as I got. The linen's beautiful, actually. I love the tones in the linen. It's almost like a rusted out effect, and yeah, it's this. I don't know if I picked the wrong fabric. This is really stiff, and I'm not big into wrinkles or creases. And you can see, when you're stitching in hand, you kind of have to roll up or fold it. And yeah, this really wreaked havoc on on the actual linen. So I didn't find it that satisfying. And the back, yeah, it just wasn't working for me. So I just put it aside. And my friend Nicky, Nicky Noodle, promised. I asked her if she would do a little live FaceTime with me, and so we can figure out where my challenges are and what I'm doing wrong. I'm left-handed, and a few viewers had commented on. I was asking for resources, and a few of you had suggested some tutorials and some videos, and I've watched a few of them. Yeah, they helped in some regard, but it just not getting into the groove. I'm just not getting into the groove. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's see what Nicky can do for me, and or how Nicky can help me. And another work in progress. I haven't done a lot of. In fact, I'm not even going to take it out of the bag. This is the fleur-de-lis. This is my progress last time I shared with you, and this is where I am today. So I got maybe 2 or 3 pulled strands done over here. It's an ink circles design, fleur-de-lis. I'll just leave the details of the project in my drop-down box below. Verdigris is the name of the floss. Absolutely beautiful colors to work with. So yeah, I'm not even going to take that out of the bag. But I do have a project that I have a little more progress to share with you. So much, in fact, that I have not started it when I filmed episode or Flosstube number 9. So this is, but I did talk about it. Michelle Garrett, lives out on the west side of the country, and my friend Ellen happened to be in the neighborhood, and they happened to be at Acorns and Threads, which is, I guess, Michelle's localist needlework shop. And so I asked if she could pick something special or unique out for me, and so she picked out an ink circles project called Mantis Life. She's talked about this already on her Flosstube, and I did mention it in my last one. And so we're stitching it together. The hashtag that we're using, please join us, is Mantis Life Sal. I think that's right. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. Mantis Life Sal. I got it right. It's on Seraphim 40 count, and we're using the called for. There's a couple DMC and a few classic colorworks. So yeah, it's a really manageable size project, and this is how far I got. So the border's essentially done. I'm loving the variegation. I'm loving the scale. I love the size. I just started doing a bit of the yellow flowers there. They kind of remind me of irises. And yeah, it's this has been really fun. In fact, I couldn't put it down all one weekend, and I haven't picked it up since, because I did want to finish those other projects, and I didn't want to get too far ahead. So I thought, yeah, I'll put it away for a while so I can dust it off again. Yeah, so that's a work in progress. I do have another work in progress, but you know how those stitchers or designers say they're working on something, but they can't talk about, or if it's a gift, you know, they're working on something, but they can't talk about. So I'm working on stitching a project that I can't talk about, but hopefully the next time that I film, we will be able to talk about it. So don't you hate that? Don't be a hater. We're okay. So did I go through everything already? I think I did. Okay, so let's move on to acquisitions. One special little item I treated myself to was, again, you know, I think this is going to be ink circles and Bendy Stitchy episode here. What I did treat myself to is a scissors fob created by none other than Tracy Horner. I believe she was selling these at an outdoor market or fair or festival or an event, and she had a few leftovers, so she offered them for sale to her Patreon clients, and I was lucky enough to snag one. And what really intrigued me was just the construction of this motif here. They're rubber rings and metal rings, and I'd never, you know, it's kind of like chainmail concept. I've seen the idea before, but I've never seen this particular execution, and I thought that it was really clever. And it's a nice size. It's lightweight enough, but it's substantial enough, and I'm looking forward to attaching this to my favorite pair of scissors. What else do we have? Oh, I did mention number 12 Stitch Co. before. lovely woman in Australia, and I placed an order with her that, I showed you the little, the small piece that I did the September mini bouquet on. So I did pick up some larger pieces of fabric from them, and this is called Weathered, and they're really beautifully colored fabrics. This is a 40 count, I think. Really fine quality. And I really enjoyed stitching on the 28 count over 1, so I look forward to stitching on these as well. And I'm running out of space here. But what prompted the order here is another one. This is, here we can see. Number 12, Stitch Co. The color of this is Wallaby. Australia, they've got all kinds of wacky, funny names. And so this is a Wallaby. And this is 36 count. What prompted the order, and to justify the shipping, of course, you need other things. But what prompted the order was this fabric. This is called a Woodland Pine. It's 36 count. And, whoops. That was a ring there. What did I say? Woodland Pine. And I thought I could potentially use this as the fabric for a Scarlet Letter project that I would like to start called, I call it the Pub Project. It's the peacock, unicorn, and a badger. And I'll show the picture here. So it's a full coverage piece, and all of that green is stitching, and it's kind of, I thought that it might be an easier approach to use green colored fabric, and I think that this might actually fit the bill. And I didn't want to buy a huge piece because I wasn't sure what it would look like in person. But I really love this. This is beautiful. So I think this might be nice with like a monochrome project in ivory. This might be nice for some Christmas ornaments or decorations or a stocking. So number 12, Stitch Co. And what else do we have? The Needlework Expo happened. And there were a lot of new releases for that, and I did pick up 2, I said this is a Bendy Stitchy Ink Circles episode. Well, what's this? Bendy Stitchy and Ink Circles, and the first project. This one I bought, it's called Needle Heathen, and it is a needle book. Should I take it out of the plastic, or can you see that okay? Bendy, yeah, that looks good. Bendy Stitchy, it's 4 motifs that form a needle book. It's called Needle Heathen, and if you've heard her speak of this before, she said she's not particular about her needles. She'll just pick one up, I guess not know what it is, and poke it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, she'll try something else. So I like my needles, and I like experimenting with different brands and different sizes and different finishes and different companies. And so I thought it was a little bit ironic that I would have a Needle Heathen needle book to keep all of my needles very organized. So yeah, I'm looking forward to stitching this. One thing I didn't share is this came with, I think it's a limited edition set of decorative pins. Can you see that? There we go. Scissors, button, ruler, thimble, and I thought that was really sweet. So, limited edition, sign me up, put me down. And my second Needlework Expo release acquisition is here by Ink Circles and Garden of Zig. I don't know if you're familiar, if you've seen it before. It's a floral, but it's very geometric, and that's what attracted me to it. And what also attracted me to this design was that you could get the floss bundle, and it is five different skeins from Cottage Garden. Cottage Garden Threads. This is also an Australian episode, I guess. Cottage Garden Threads have been doing, I think they're really trying to get into the North American market. So we've been seeing all kinds of designers creating works for some country cottage, cottage garden threads, and we're starting to see them at more and more retailers. So I thought that this project, which I really love, would be a great way to try them out. And even just looking at them, I'll just show you quickly, but I think you kind of need to see this on your own if you do buy it. The labeling is absolutely exquisite. It's got so much information on here. It's a 10 meters long. They come in pre-cut 50 centimeter lengths, but look at all the information on the back that it offers. Can you see that? Sort of where it's from, mother and daughter team, washing or care instructions, even how to remove the floss. They give you instructions on how to remove it from the card. So I thought that was really clever, and I really haven't seen this concept from a floss company before. So, kudos to them for going that extra mile. I think anything that kind of differentiates you from the others in the pack is really awesome, and I do wish them the best of success here in North America. So what else do we have? Oh yeah, this is Happy Mail. This is actually Happy Mail. Andrea, it's Australia. Andrea in Australia. I think she first popped into my sphere of existence when I saw her posting her Lady Man progress, and I saw one of her projects that she shared on Instagram, and it happened to be a little thimble purse, and oh my God, it was just the cutest thing. Here, I'll take it out of the package. So I'd never seen anything like it, and I thought the final finish was absolutely beautiful. Isn't that sweet? And so I think she got this as a kit. The stitching itself is pretty small, but it came with some finishing instructions, and she shared with me a link where I could order the hardware for it. And so she was kind enough to sort of pass the stash and share two of them. It was designed by Brenda Gervais. Why did I forget that? So two thimble purses by Brenda Gervais. I have a feeling I will be stitching these in short order. In fact, I may even use this concept for maybe finishing one of the mini bouquets. I thought that might be a cute idea, and she sent me a lovely note and a needle minder that she also made. It's a little jackalope. It's a little dark here in the photo. This beautiful thread drop too. You know what? I have to take it out of the package. That's gorgeous. There we go. Isn't that sweet? I'll post her Instagram link below if you want to check her out. She's so talented. She does, Andrea does some beautiful stitching. I love her taste, and I love her projects. So thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate it, and I'll be sure to share those in short order. This is not happy mail, but it's a Stitchy kindness, I guess. If my last episode, I drew a name for the recipient of, what was I sharing? Liberty Fabrics, a stash of Liberty fabrics and some needles, and Mona was the lucky recipient, and it turns out that she lives here in the city, the same city that I do, and so we made arrangements to do to meet up so I could give it to her in person. And she was sweet enough to actually make a scissors fob for me. Isn't that kind and sweet? I don't know if we're focusing. There we go. She said she was inspired by the colors of the Ukrainian flag because, my heritage is Ukrainian as well. So, it was lovely to meet a fellow stitcher, and she's new to the stitching community. It was, I think, one of her lockdown projects. And, I look forward to, we're going to try to arrange a stitchy date or something. We don't have any regular stitching clubs here in Toronto. So, even kind of a stitching club of two, that would be kind of fun. Maybe other people might want to join too. We will see. What else? This is not a new acquisition, but this would be kind of a new start. I talked last time about doing a Santa September. Well, that didn't fly. That didn't go anywhere. So yeah, I just looked at the chart. I love it. But it was essentially full coverage, and it was much larger than I had anticipated. So I put it aside. We're going to save it for another day. And instead, I will be working on Just Nan Gingerbread Candy Mouse. This is far more my style. It's kind of like an upside down strawberry. And it came with the little embellishments. It's got her tail, a little medallion for the bottom, the beads that you need. There's a charm. So I look forward to stitching this. I think this will be a really quick stitch. And I even have a linen called Gingerbread that would be perfect for this project. So tune in. Maybe next time I will have some progress done on this one. And what else? Oh yeah, I talked in my last episode about a design that Darcy from Stitchman Darcy gave me, and it's called "We All Go a Little Mad Sometimes." He was kind enough to gift this to me with another Hitchcock-inspired design, and in a way to sort of pay it forward, I offered to buy the same two designs and off his Etsy shop and share it with a fellow viewer who used the word Hitchcock in their comments, and the lucky recipient is Joanne Weens. So I'll be reaching out to you. I'll reply to your comment, and we'll connect and figure out how we can facilitate this. It's a PDF through his Etsy shop, so we're not going to have to worry about shipping or anything. So Joanne Weens, congratulations. And did I kind of came to the end? Oh, I have one last acquisition here, and I'm just reviewing my notes to make sure I talked about everything. I talked at the beginning of this recording about school supplies, and Glennie stitched a lot. Commented about, he reminded me of the pencil crayons that we had growing up. It was a company called Laurentian, and it was a Canadian company, and they would make these pencil crayons in these sort of plastic sleeve that sort of folded open, and it had tabs, and so he shared with me an Etsy link to maker in Winnipeg, of all places, who makes these. So this actually is exactly what it looked like back when I was going to school. So this, oh my God. So he sent me the link, and of course I had to buy it. It's a pouch. It's supposed to be a pencil case, but I mean, you can use it for anything you want, right? Thank you so much for your support, Winnipeg, north of Fargo. So that's the name of the shop on Etsy here. Winnipeg, north of Fargo. Here's the bus. Winnipeg, north of Fargo, and the back too has some, well, pencil crayons that are actually full size. So we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to get that hocus pocus, just use the word Halloween in your comments, and take care of yourselves, be well, and do the best that you can do. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.